So, what to expect for the Destin real estate market for 2026? Well, you've probably seen headlines flooding the internet about the housing market this year and next. I'm here to tell you that it is a great time to buy in 2026, and that's whether the prices are going up or down. And I'm here to explain exactly why. Even though some people are saying prices are crashing, others, they're saying it's booming again. So, what's really going to happen to the Destin and Emerald Coast, Florida real estate market for 2026? Are prices going up, down, or stagnant? Well, I'm here today to cut through that noise, giving you an honest, local, boots on the ground forecast. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or relocating here in the next year, stick with me because I'm going to share with you the best buying windows will be and what trends actually matter for Destin, Miramar Beach, 30A, and the entire Emerald Coast of Florida. What's up, everyone? It's Danny Wills Margliano with World Impact Real Estate, DestinPropertyExpert.com, and StayTimeVacations.com. And today, we're diving deep into what's coming for the Destin housing market for 2026. I've been in this market for over a decade, and I've seen the cycles go up and down, crashes, rebounds, slow years, hot years, you name it. So, before you scroll on Zillow or hopefully DestinPropertyExpert.com and start guessing what 2026 will do, let's break it down. The real trends, the data that actually matters, and the local factors that are going to shape the year ahead. Okay, so let's start with the current market check as of the end of 2025. Right now, as of early 2026, we're seeing something interesting in Destin and for the broader Emerald Coast. The market is absolutely different than it was in 2021 and 2022. Since the bubble of 2021, our market has slowed down dramatically, and we've seen a lot more inventory. Actually, we have too much inventory. But over the past 3 to 6 months, we've seen the market and the trends start to kind of shift and change. And that's actually in a good way. Condo and home buyers are coming back around and finally seem like they're ready to purchase again. And that's because the prices are dropping to a level that they're more comfortable with. And people are feeling more comfortable to make a purchase. And this is a big but. Most of the people that are buying are looking for a great deal. With this being said, some of the best deals to be found will be either on new listings, and you may not really know this, but this is something to really keep an eye on, that the new listings that come on the market that are priced right, you want to keep an eye on these. Because if you can find that along with a seller that's motivated and ready to negotiate, you can step into a really good situation. Now, when it comes to making an offer, keep in mind that the average list to sale price ratio is somewhere between 95 and 97%. That depends on a lot of factors. According to the recent local housing stats, the median home price in Destin sits right now around somewhere in the mid 600s, and the inventory has grown, meaning that the market conditions are favoring buyers. And if you want to sell, you need to be priced, as I said earlier, very competitively. Homes are staying on the market longer than they did a few years back, but sellers aren't panicking with fire sales. We may see a few properties sell below the previously mentioned 95% to 97% of the list price, but these deals are few and far between, and sometimes it's because of an issue with the condo or the home. So you want to be wary of those ones and just do your research. So many of the listings will be priced realistically, and if they sit on the market a little while because they're overpriced for some other reason, many sellers are fine with waiting for deals that match their pricing. And I can tell you, that's exactly what I'm recommending the property owners for my listings to do. This is because all of the trends are showing for an improving market. Now, the prices aren't going to go skyrocketing this year, but we are definitely seeing them level off and possibly even slightly appreciating. So in practical terms, that means more opportunity for buyers, not desperate sellers, but sellers willing to price fairly and negotiate. Okay, let's get to trend number 1. Prices still move up over time. Here's the part that every buyer should hear. Even when markets seem slow or sideways, long-term prices tend to climb. Over the past 30 years, condos and homes in Destin and all over the Emerald Coast, they have appreciated significantly. And single-family homes have appreciated even more than condos, multiple hundreds of percents over time. That doesn't mean that buyers should just rush in blindly, but it does mean that this area historically doesn't sit still long term. The key difference for 2026 is that we're not expecting a massive boom. Instead, we're likely to be in a stabilizing pattern where the prices were going to rise slightly rather than explode upward like they did during the pandemic. National economists are predicting and projecting modest price increases across the entire US, and with anticipation that home values will grow slowly but steadily over the next year, even as mortgage rates are going to slightly decrease. If you're a long-term buyer, someone that's planning to hold a property for 3+ years, 2026 it is looking for a great year to buy. It's not going to be a market that you're going to want to wait for. You're going to want to make a move when you see the right property. Trend number 2, mortgage rates could still ease. And what I mean by that, and what we're all hoping, is that they're going to drop this year. So one of the biggest barriers that we faced in 2024 and 2025 was high mortgage rates. Even a 0.5% of interest rate dropping can make a huge difference in your monthly payment. And the good news is that we should see that kind of change, hopefully even more, during 2026. The outlook for 2026 is that mortgage rates may ease up slightly compared to recent years, potentially moving down from the high 6% range, a slightly more comfortable point, maybe in the mid to upper 5s. And that's what we're hearing a lot of. So that's not a rock bottom rate like we saw during COVID, but it does increase buying power for people that are previously on the fence. Lower rates could draw buyers back into a market, not because rates are suddenly cheap, but because they're just more predictable and less intimidating. If you've been watching the market and thinking that I wish I could just get away with less interest, well, 2026, it might just give you that little bit of room to breathe. Trend number 3, inventory is stabilizing. In 2024 and 2025, we saw inventory rates climb compared to the previous shortages we had during the early pandemic years. What that means is more homes for buyers to choose from. And generally that leads to more negotiating power. And that's what, for you buyers out there, that's what we want to see. So more choices also means that buyers can take longer to decide, but be careful on that one. Bargaining becomes more common, prices stabilize rather than spike, and sellers are more realistic in their pricing. This balancing of supply and demand is a big part of the 2026 outlook. Buyers aren't rushing in a panic, and sellers aren't trying to list at unrealistic prices. Instead, the market feels more balanced, much more balanced than we've seen in quite a few years. Are you thinking about relocating to the Emerald Coast of Florida? I've got just the thing for you. My team and I have actually taken the time to create the ultimate relocation guide, which is meant to save you hours of research. And I've linked it right below. From top employers to the best hospitals and a boatload of other stuff that you really need to know before making the move. The best part is this guide is 100% free. That's right, you heard it right, 100% free. Just click on the link in the description or in the top pinned comment. I hope this helps. Trend number 4, Destin and Emerald Coast attractivity remains high. So despite national shifts in affordability, the Emerald Coast continues to attract relocators, retirees, remote workers, families, and vacation home buyers. The lifestyle here, the beaches, the boating, the golf, the low taxes, paddleboarding, windsurfing, kiteboarding, you name it, we have so much. And of course, the sunshine. It doesn't disappear just because rates are higher than they were a few years ago. But speaking about rates, and it's important to remember that back in 2021, the interest rates, they were at a historical low. In fact, lower than just about any time in history. So we are finding that buyers are realizing that today's rates, they're actually more of the norm than what we saw in the COVID and pre-COVID years. Those were more of a fantasy than reality. And we're probably not likely to see even rates get to 4% in that range for a very long time, if ever again. Even more importantly, the coastline is finite. You literally can't create more beaches. And in luxury micro markets like walkable coastal communities, supply stays tight. The dynamic means demand doesn't go away when prices soften. Instead, it creates kind of a steady pull where buyers who are savvy watch the market closely, look for the good deals, and they jump when they see them. So I hope that I'm going to be able to help you do the same. Trend number 5, market differences by property type. So talking about the Destin market without separating condos from single family homes would be like lumping seafood into one category. It just doesn't do it justice. Okay, so right now, condos have more units on the market and longer days on the market compared to a couple years ago. Some older buildings with high HOAs and sometimes insurance surprises, they're really testing the buyer's patience. Now, this doesn't mean that condos are a bad move, it just means pricing strategy. It matters more and more than ever. So picking the right condo for your circumstances also matters. Now, it's important to look at the big picture. You don't want to look at the first year only. You're probably not planning on selling your property in the next 12 months. So look at the big picture and what it looks like when you own a property for 5+ years. That's going to give you a more realistic picture of your entire investment. Single family homes in desirable neighborhoods are showing more stable demand. They tend to hold values better and are less impacted by condo financing issues. If you're looking at luxury Gulfront properties, inventory is inherently limited, but homes that are north of 98 or where most of the full-time residents do live, they have a lot of options for buyers, but the good ones still are going to be selling rather quickly. So you're going to want to watch those when they come on the market and be ready to make a move. So in 2026, expect mixed performance. Near the beach, single-family homes, they're going to stay quite competitive. Condos, they might offer more negotiation room. Luxury beachfront will remain a niche and price resistant. What this means if you're considering to buy in 2026, well, buying power is going to be better than it was at the peak of 2023 through 2025 because the inventory is still higher and mortgage rates are even going to be easing off a little bit. You may have negotiating leverage. Sellers are more realistic now. Prices aren't crashing, they're stabilizing or rising even moderately. So lowball offers, they're probably not going to go very far. Remember, most properties are selling around that 96% of list price. But if it's already priced right, you're not going to get anywhere close to that. They're going to probably be wanting closer to list price. And some people are getting very close to that. Now, if it's higher priced than all the competition, needs updates, it needs work, then you might wind up getting somewhere around 94 to 95% of that list price. So lean on your realtor for advice. Single family homes, they're going to remain strong while some condo niches soften slightly. Lifestyle and vacation rental demand keeps Destin desirable for the long term. So basically, 2026, it looks like a balanced market. Not a crazy boom, not a collapse, but a market where educated buyers and prepared sellers can succeed together. So what should you do next? If buying in 2026 is your plan, here's what makes sense. Get pre-approved with a local lender, not a national bank without coastal knowledge. It's very important using local lenders when you're buying here. Understand the flood zones, the HOAs, the costs and what's included with them, as well as insurance implications before making an offer. Don't chase unrealistic bargains. Understand the true value of what you're making an offer on. Pay attention to the location, amenities, and seasonality. Being informed now puts you ahead when the market shifts, because markets don't wait. Now, getting to what I said in the beginning of this video, when's the best time to purchase? So, whether you're buying a condo or a home, if it's priced well and it doesn't need a lot of work or updates, it's going to sell faster than the rest of them. So, if you see the right property and you are financially in a position to move forward, do so. That's always the right time to purchase. When it comes to buying a primary home, it all depends on the best timing for your circumstance. If you have kids, you might want to wait till the summer. If not, well, it goes back to finding the right property and having the finances to pull the trigger. As to purchasing a vacation home or vacation rental property, the best time to really buy does follow the same guidelines as what I just talked about. But if you don't want to have to carry the mortgage and expenses too long, I would say the best time to purchase is somewhere in that November, December, January time frame. And that's because spring break will be right around the corner and you won't have to carry that mortgage and cost too long before getting rental income. But sellers aren't stupid and they know this too. So during these time frames, they might not be quite as negotiable because they know rental income is right around the corner. Sometimes getting the best deal as far as price can be toward the end of the summer or the fall because the sellers don't want to carry the property through the off season. But then again, that's going to fall on you. So the long story short is back to the best time to buy a condo or a home in the Destin or Emerald Coast is when you find the right property for you and you can financially make the purchase. Okay, final thoughts. So here's the quick Emerald Coast forecast for 2026. I'm going to try to just knock it out real fast. Prices are stabilizing. Inventory is starting to decrease. Demand still exists. And 2026, it could be a very good year to buy if you approach with strategy, not emotion. Don't wait to purchase because you think the interest rates might come down. I can show you on paper that it doesn't make sense to wait for interest rates to drop when you can get a good price now before the prices increase. It's very easy and it makes sense. Ask me more about it in the comments or text me, call me. My info is right here on the page. I'll show you exactly how that does make sense for you. You may have heard this saying before, and it's extremely true. Now, it's kind of a funny one, but it really does, it is true. Marry the home and date the rate. What this means is when you find a home for the right price, buy it. Don't worry about the interest rate. When the interest rate drops, refinance it. But you can't go back and buy the house for the right price if you wait too long. So if you're thinking about buying, selling, or relocating here anywhere on the Destin area, Miramar Beach, 30A, and surrounding areas on the Emerald Coast, reach out to me for a personalized breakdown. Call, text, or email me. Let's look at your goals and build a plan that makes sense for you. Okay guys, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment with your questions about the 2026 market, and I'll answer it in the next video. This is Danny Wheels Margliano with World Impact Real Estate, DestinPropertyExpert.com, and StayTimeVacations.com. I'll see you on the beach.